Hello everybody. The year 2024 became a year that many people in Argentina will never forget. The country, where the majority of the population is Catholic, witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon. Islam grew rapidly among its society. This unexpected spiritual movement began with a small spark that eventually changed many lives. People from various backgrounds, who previously had no connection to Islam, began to show interest in learning about the teachings of this religion, with some even deciding to embrace it. The first factor that triggered this awakening was technology. At first, who would have guessed that the internet could influence such a significant change in religious beliefs? Platforms like YouTube, podcasts, and online articles provided easy access to learn more deeply about Islam. Even more surprising, the content was presented in a more humane, loving, and peaceful way, answering many questions that had long gone unanswered for people seeking meaning in life. In 2024, social media became the hub of this movement. Hundreds of thousands of Argentinians started watching videos about the stories of people who embraced Islam, listening to calming lectures, and reading articles discussing how this religion teaches peace and life balance. There was something very different from what they had previously known about Islam through the often misleading mainstream media. However, it wasn't just the internet that played a significant role. As the economic crisis hit and social tensions grew, many people began to seek escape. They were tired of the chaos in the world around them and felt an emptiness in their lives. In their search for peace, many began to open themselves to the teachings of Islam, which is known for its values of peace, balance, and forgiveness. This phenomenon was not just about numbers or statistics. This is a story about the search for deeper meaning in life. When the world felt chaotic, some Argentinians began asking themselves, is there something deeper than just the daily routine? And the answer, for many of them, came in the form of the teachings of Islam. Of course, this interest didn't only come from one group. Many young people started to engage in their spiritual search through education and open discussions about religion. They no longer felt afraid to ask big questions about life and faith. The internet gave them the freedom to explore deeper without fear or judgment. As more and more people began studying Islam, the interest in learning more grew rapidly. The Argentine society, which had never considered Islam to be a relevant religion, suddenly found itself confronted with the reality that thousands of people were beginning to show interest in these teachings. They saw that Islam was not a foreign religion filled with violence, as often depicted in mainstream media. Instead, they discovered a religion that offers tranquility, peace, and a more balanced way of life. Against a backdrop of social tension, many people felt that a religion teaching justice, compassion, and peace was the answer they had been searching for. Islam, with its humanistic teachings full of hope, seemed like the right solution in facing the chaos of the world. Despite Argentina's rich history with Catholicism, the interest in Islam led to a new and extraordinary expansion of perspectives. No one could have predicted that in a country where the majority of the population is Catholic, Islam could grow this rapidly. Yet, the phenomenon that began with curiosity soon became more than just an individual search. It became a social movement involving thousands of people, and perhaps, in the future, it will change the face of religion and culture in Argentina forever. With the growing interest of Argentine society in Islam in 2024, a new wave emerged: Islamic education. What initially started as mere curiosity has now transformed into a deep spiritual search. Many people in Argentina began to feel that learning about Islam was more than just reading articles or watching videos. They wanted to learn directly, master the Arabic language, understand the Quran, and delve into the fundamental teachings of the religion in a more structured way. This desire wasn't limited to individuals but also spread into communities. Mosques, which had previously only served as places of worship, began to transform into bustling centers of education and teaching. In large cities like Buenos Aires, Córdoba, and Rosario, various Islamic educational institutions began offering courses in Arabic, Quranic exegesis, tafsir, and hadith studies, all of which were in high demand by the local population. Islamic centers that once seemed exclusive and limited are now becoming open spaces welcoming people from all walks of life. People who previously knew little about Islam are now flocking to learn directly. From Arabic language courses that help them read the Quran, to tafsir classes that help them understand the messages of Allah contained in the Holy Book, Islamic education is rapidly expanding across Argentina. The existence of mosques and new Islamic centers has become crucial in this process. Not only as places of worship, but these mosques are also now hosting well-organized educational programs. Teachings about the obligations of worship in Islam, ethical living, and how to be a good Muslim are being conveyed in a way that emphasizes deep understanding and compassion. This offers an opportunity for many people who are curious or want to delve deeper to acquire authentic and reliable knowledge about Islam. One factor that makes this development so fascinating is the way the teachings are tailored to the needs of Argentine society. Some teachings not only focus on religious aspects but also emphasize the social and humanitarian aspects that are closely related to daily life. For example, how Islamic teachings on social justice and peace can be applied to help the community face economic and social challenges. At this point, Islamic education has become not just a way to learn about the religion, but also a larger social movement. More people are engaging in open discussions about religion, leading to the creation of more inclusive spaces. In large cities, seminars, conferences, and religious forums about Islam have started to be held regularly. People from various religions, including Catholics and adherents of other faiths, began participating in these events to deepen their knowledge of Islam and exchange views in a tolerant atmosphere. Beyond formal classrooms, scholars and Islamic teachers in Argentina have also become increasingly active in preaching. They hold public discussions and Q&A sessions that are often attended by thousands of people. Discussions about Islam, which were once rare and limited, have now become hot topics that are discussed on various media platforms, both in community events and in the online world. The success of bringing more inclusive Islamic education has also been influenced by close collaboration between local Muslim communities and educational institutions as well as the local government. Newly established mosques not only offer religious lessons but also organize social activities such as health awareness, education, and skill development programs. This shows that Islam is not just a religion but a way of life that emphasizes the importance of social virtues and helping others. Thanks to this development, Argentina is now witnessing a significant transition. What was once a small, isolated community has now become a more open community, connected with the broader society. The growing Islamic education not only enhances understanding of the religion but also strengthens the integration of Islam into Argentina's more pluralistic and open society. Now, those interested in learning about Islam no longer have to rely solely on resources from abroad. Instead, they have the opportunity to learn from locally trained scholars and preachers, understanding Islamic teachings from an Argentine perspective. This shows that the development of Islam in Argentina is not just a temporary phenomenon, but a cultural and intellectual revolution that will continue to evolve in the long run. With better education and more open access, Argentine society is now entering a new era, an era where Islam is not only studied but also embraced as part of their spiritual and social life. At the end of 2024, the phenomenon that initially appeared as a small movement had now turned into an unstoppable wave. Thousands of Argentinians, who previously had no connection to Islam, began choosing to embrace the religion. They came from various backgrounds, ages, and professions, but they shared one common factor: a search for true peace amid a chaotic world. This mass conversion phenomenon was not just about numbers, it was a profound social transformation that shook the religious and cultural landscape of Argentina. The conversion process was not sudden, but rather the result of a long journey of spiritual search. Those who embraced Islam were not only drawn to the religious rituals but also to the deeper message conveyed by Islam, about simplicity, justice, and balance in life. Many of them were individuals who felt that the religion they had followed previously could not provide answers to their inner turmoil. Islam, with its teachings emphasizing peace and a direct relationship with God, offered the tranquility they were seeking. Of course, the decision to embrace Islam was not an easy one. For many, it meant facing significant challenges within their family and social environments. In Argentina, a country where the majority of the population is still Catholic, embracing Islam is often seen as a major decision that can have social and emotional repercussions. However, despite these challenges, more and more people felt that this was a step they had to take in order to find true peace. Although this spiritual journey is deeply personal, the social changes brought about by this phenomenon were felt strongly throughout Argentina. The existing Muslim community began to grow rapidly, with new mosques being established in various cities. In Buenos Aires, for example, mosques that were once places of worship for a few people were now filled with those who had recently embraced Islam. Many of them, who previously had no knowledge of the religion, had now become active members of the Muslim community, engaging in social activities, da'wah, and education. In other large cities such as Córdoba and Rosario, newly established mosques and Islamic centers also became gathering places for these new converts. They came not only to pray but also to learn and build social connections with fellow Muslims. This newly formed Muslim community began to introduce Islamic values into their daily lives, emphasizing simplicity, mutual help, and respect for differences. However, this phenomenon did not only bring change in the personal lives of those who embraced Islam, but also in the relationship between Muslims and Argentine society as a whole. Society, which had previously been somewhat closed off to Islam, began to change its perspective. This shift was reflected in increasingly open and respectful interfaith dialogues. The new Muslim community became an important bridge in building understanding between Muslims and followers of other religions. Events such as interfaith seminars, Islamic holiday celebrations, and joint social activities organized by the Muslim community in Argentina were helping to increase understanding and tolerance among different religious groups. For instance, during Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, mosques and Islamic centers in Argentina often invited the public to join the celebrations, share food, and engage in dialogue. Initiatives like this helped eliminate negative stereotypes about Islam and introduce the true teachings of Islam, a religion of peace, compassion, and mutual respect. Moreover, more and more local media began covering the stories of people who had embraced Islam and their spiritual journeys. These stories inspired more people to learn about Islam, opening the door for deeper discussions about the teachings of the religion. Social media also played an important role in spreading these inspiring stories, helping Argentinians see the more humanistic side of Islam, free from distortion by stereotypes. This change was not just social, it began to extend into politics and public policy. Some political figures began to recognize the importance of religious diversity in building a more inclusive and tolerant society. Those who had embraced Islam and become active members of the Muslim community were also playing a role in advocating for religious minority rights and freedom of religion at the national level. With more and more Argentinians embracing Islam, a new identity began to form. Islam in Argentina was no longer seen as a foreign and isolated religion, but rather as part of the cultural diversity that was increasingly being accepted. The country, which was once predominantly Catholic, had now become a place for many to find a religion that resonated with their spiritual search. At the same time, Argentina was becoming a model for other countries in terms of acceptance of religious diversity. By the end of 2024, the phenomenon of Islam in Argentina was not just a story about thousands of people embracing the religion, but also a symbol of a larger social change. In a world full of challenges, Argentina had now become a real example of how religion could be a unifying force, not a divisive one. Islam, once considered foreign, was now an integral part of the fabric of history, culture, and everyday life in an increasingly plural and open Argentine society.